Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now today's first story comes from CurveOK310, who says, am I the arsehole here for not telling an acquaintance that his girlfriend was cheating on him after a mutual friend told me about it? I, 20 male, was hanging out with a good friend. Let's call her Emily, 20 female. We went to our usual local burger joint just to chill and chat. Then Emily asks if I know a dude named Bryce, 20 male. I told her, yeah, he's a friend of my homie, DeMarcus, 20 male, who is more like a brother than friend. But Bryce to me is just an acquaintance. Emily then drops a massive bomb. She tells me that Bryce's girlfriend, Estelle, 20 female, has been cheating on him with this guy, Jaden, 20 male, and it's been going on for a month after they started dating. This put me in a really weird position because of how our social circles overlap. I actually know Jaden well, and I am a closer friend with him than I am with Bryce. On top of that, I am actually friends with Estelle, whereas Bryce and I are just casual acquaintances. To be honest, Bryce has never really liked me for some reason anyway. After hearing all this, I told Emily, yeah, I know literally everyone involved in this. Emily immediately asked me, are you going to tell him? I told her I didn't know. Emily said that was kind of fucked, but I tried to explain the nuance of the situation. I'm friends with girlfriend, I'm friends with a guy she's cheating with, and the guy being cheated on doesn't even like me. Low key, it just felt like a mess that wasn't my business to get dragged into. Emily said okay, but made it clear she thought I should say something. That conversation happened about 2 weeks ago, and I chose just to stay in my lane. Then last week, DeMarcus threw a kickback at his place. Bryce was there and Emily was there too. Emily decided to take matters into her own hands and told Bryce everything. But when she exposed the cheating, she also went out of her way to tell him that I had known about it the whole time. The next day, DeMarcus called me to ask why I didn't tell Bryce what his girl was doing. I told him straight up, it wasn't my place, and I don't get involved in other people's relationship drama. DeMarcus said, I get that, but you could have at least told me so I could handle it. I told him I couldn't do that because if I told him, he obviously would have told Bryce. Then Bryce would ask where the info came from. DeMarcus would have to say to me, and Bryce wouldn't even believe it because of his weird dislike for me. He probably just thinks I was starting rumors since I was stuck between trying to protect my friendships with Estelle and Jaden versus helping an acquaintance who doesn't like me. I figured the best solution for my own sanity was just to sit back, stay out of the blast radius and let things play out naturally. DeMarcus listened to my side and was like, yeah, that actually makes sense. After that call, I decided to text Bryce directly just to clear the air and show some respect. I said, sorry man, it was out of my hands. Bryce completely lost it on me. He texts back, cursing me out, saying I should have told him regardless of how we felt about each other, and then promptly blocked me. On top of that, Emily has been super distant and cold towards me ever since the kickback, like she judges me for not jumping into the drama. I thought I was just avoiding a mess that wasn't mine to fix, and now I'm being painted as the bad guy. So, am I the arsehole here? Edit, PSA, Emily didn't know Bryce personally and met him for the first time at the kickback, but she knew DeMarcus. She could have just told him for real. The first commenter on this one says to OP, if Emily wants to say something, she should. I'd keep out of it unless one of them asks. Commenter replied saying, the fact is, what Emily told you was a rumor. You had no business sharing stuff like that if you had no way to know if it was true. The minute she didn't want to know it herself and tried to pass the bearing of bad news to you, straying away from it was the right call. A commenter says, you're the arsehole. He deserved to know, even if it wasn't your place. Your morals should be relooked at. I'm sure you'd be upset if you found out other people knew about your girlfriend cheating and they all hid it from you. All you had to do was text him, hey, I didn't ask to be involved in this, but I unfortunately got dragged into information I felt you should know. Your text back to him saying it was out of your hands is icing on the cake for someone getting upset, because that's literally not what that saying means, and it's just you trying not to accept any responsibility for doing the wrong thing. It wasn't out of your hands. You chose how you handled it. Nix the Witch says, yeah, you're the arsehole. Doesn't matter how you personally feel about Bryce, the fact that you sided with the cheaters and you did by keeping quiet and prioritizing your friendship with them. You did Bryce, and to an extent DeMarcus, a massive disservice. Grey Ash says, you're young enough that I can excuse you not getting it and the urge to stay uninvolved. You're also now old enough to learn the lesson that not taking a side is taking a side. While you had no obligation to say anything, choosing to actively stay silent shows more about your character than you probably realized. Situations like this have a lot less to do with how you feel about the people than they do with how you feel about their actions. Cheating is okay in your books as long as it doesn't have a comeback on you, which makes you an untrustworthy person. Do better in the future, or live with knowing you can't be trusted. Another commenter says, so you kept your mouth shut because you didn't want to ruin your friendship with Estelle. Well, you made your choice, and it's time to own up. Bryce doesn't seem to matter to you guys anyway, but you pretty much lost Emily. Judging by how she exposed Estelle, she doesn't fuck around and probably made a decision what kind of person you are, regardless who you think you are. That's probably why she exposed you as well. DeMarcus is also stuck in between, so you'll soon see if he was your homie or Bryce's homie. I'm not going to judge Bryce solely based on what you wrote, but if I were you, I think I would have told our homie DeMarcus at least. Make sure to update because I dig this high teen drama. Bunch of fucking kids. No offense, I'm Unk. And one more comment who says, you're the arsehole here. I get not wanting to be involved in drama, and I respect that you want to stay in your lane, but think about this. If your woman was cheating on you and a dude that you didn't like knew, wouldn't you still want to know? The way you approach this seems like you condone or even approve of the cheating. It can even be seen as you getting back at the victim since he doesn't like you and you both know it. Everyone deserves to know the truth. It's far better to be told a painful truth than to live a lie longer than necessary. Even further, if she's cheating with one dude, who's to say she isn't cheating with more? Even with one, you can get pregnancy and life-altering STDs involved, either of which could ruin his life. Imagine nobody told him. She gets pregnant with the affair partner and he raises the kid, thinking it's his, for years only to find out the truth years later. Think of that pain, that wasted effort, that betrayal. And I was kind of with that last comment. I get not wanting to be involved in that kind of drama, dragged into it. But once you start staying silent and neutral, if you like, it usually only protects the cheaters, and it's always going to come across that way. And the fact is, like him or not, he still deserved to know that he was being cheated on for many of the reasons that the commenters gave. But Opie does come in with an update and says, hey guys, I wanted to drop an update on my last post because a lot has happened, and honestly, the trash ended up taking itself out. DeMarcus actually asked to meet up with me in person because he said he had some heavy stuff he wanted to talk about face to face. First off, Bryce obviously broke up with Estelle, but the wild part is that immediately after the breakup, Bryce started hanging out with Emily a ton, and now they are already officially dating. When DeMarcus told me that, I was just like, damn, that was fast. DeMarcus also told me that Bryce, Emily, and a few of their other friends actually invited him to go on a trip with them this summer. DeMarcus turned them down. He told them straight up, I don't think it's right for me to hang out with you guys, especially with how everything connects back to my brother. Apparently when DeMarcus said that, the whole group flipped it on him. They told DeMarcus that I was holding him back from making new friends. They said something like I shouldn't be trusted anyway. Emily explicitly called me a coward and said I couldn't even pick a side. DeMarcus told me that hearing them say all that made him realize just how much deep resentment Emily and Bryce had been harboring towards me. It was a total litmus test, and DeMarcus stuck by me. But the craziest part of what DeMarcus told me was when he had asked Emily why she was acting like this. He asked her, you've been friends with him for a few years, why don't you like him anymore? Emily basically went on a huge rant about me. She told DeMarcus that I was nice and cool at first, but that I just don't care about anything unless it's about myself. She brought up this one time where she tried to set me up with a girl she knew I used to like, and I told her she overstepped. Said I didn't find the girl attractive anymore and chose to go to the gym instead. She also claimed that all I do is talk about myself, saying stuff like, oh, I got a paper published, I got a high value paid internship, and that I rarely ask questions about her or how she's doing. Then she finished it off by saying that she likes Bryce. Bryce doesn't like me, and that's that. To make things even wilder, I had a phone call with Jaden and Estelle recently, and they revealed a huge plot twist. Emily was actually the entire reason they even met in the first place. Jaden told me that he was hanging out with Emily and a few other friends a while back, and he happened to mention that he was still looking for a relationship. Emily turned to one of the other girls there and said, maybe you can set him up with one of your friends. The girl started listing off a few names, and the second she said Estelle's name, Emily immediately jumped on it and strongly suggested that he pick her. This makes no sense because I've literally talked to Emily before about all my other friends, including Estelle, so Emily knew Estelle was with Bryce. When I talked to Estelle about it, she told me she was just tired of her relationship with Bryce because it was getting really toxic. So when Jaden approached her, she thought he was cute and they just started hanging out more. Basically, Emily literally orchestrated the introduction that led to the cheating and then turned around, acted self-righteous and blamed me for exposing it. Honestly, hearing all of this from DeMarcus, Jaden and Estelle made me low-key glad. It completely opened my eyes to how snakes operate, and I'm just happy Emily and Bryce are completely out of my life now. Bloody hell. I'm going to turn this one straight to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Our next story comes from random 6728101, who says, "Am I the arsehole for uninviting my 27 female maid of honor 27 female to my wedding over a dress?" Now, just to give you a warning, this was back in 2020 this all started, so there's mentions of COVID, just so it doesn't confuse you when we get to those parts. It says, "I'm getting married to my fiance 26 male come January. It's not ideal with the current global situation since I'm very high risk. But as we've already postponed once and there's no end to COVID in sight, we've decided we're gonna take the risk and tie the knot in a smaller ceremony with all possible precautions. Now, ever since I got sick, the reason why I'm high risk, I've always wanted a picturesque wedding. I'm stable, but only looking at another 20 or so years, if COVID doesn't get me first. The pictures of this wedding are very important to me, since they'll last far longer than I will. It'll be a lovely thing for my husband and potential children to look at once I'm gone. It's nothing insane, just people dress nice in a color scheme. The ceremony isn't lavish, but I do want it to be cohesive. Since I was enforcing a color scheme, I saw it as only fair to pay for my bridesmaids' dresses. Due to COVID restrictions, it was very difficult to find the right dresses since I didn't want to risk going to a boutique together, but we made it work. Through lots and lots of back and forth, the bridesmaids and I all picked out matching dresses that fit everyone's taste. I made extra sure everyone was happy and then ordered the maroon dresses. Everyone got fitted separately and got alterations put down on my tab. Not a word of complaint, just excitement. Today, my maid of honor 27 female messaged me saying that she's got the perfect dress for the wedding. Cue confusion. I asked for elaboration and she said that she didn't like the bridesmaid's dress, so she went ahead and bought her own. She sent me a picture and it was a tiny white dress that did not fit her well at all. When I brought up the faux pas, she dyed it flesh colored with coffee. I told her she cannot wear that to my wedding since A, already bought the actual dress at considerable expense. B, I'm not exaggerating when I say it doesn't fit. It's a wardrobe malfunction waiting to happen. C, it looks terrible. She looks naked wearing it and I do not want that in my wedding photos. I was very frustrated since she had not once told me that she didn't like the dress and had already spent the non-refundable money. I tried to compromise with her, seeing if she'd wear something else at least in the same color as the other bridesmaids, but she brushed it off. I then told her that she can wear the agreed upon dress or pay me back for it. She blew up at me, calling me a bridezilla for being controlling and unsympathetic to a college student. She said that if I'm going to be this obsessive, then I'm better off not getting married at all, since I'll drive my fiancé away. I got so angry, I just coldly told her not to come to the wedding at all, and then hung up. Am I the arsehole? It is just a dress. This isn't just a dress. OP paid for the dresses, got the bridesmaids involved in choosing them and checked everyone was happy. Got the alterations sorted, there was just so many steps along the way. And then you got this maid of honor suddenly deciding to buy her own dress without saying a word. It was a tiny white dress that she dyed with coffee. Because I guess someone pointed out that wearing white to a wedding is a terrible idea. Come on, that is a choice, isn't it? But a commenter said, not the arsehole. If she had an objection, she had an obligation to bring it up before you paid for a dress. By letting you pay, she agreed to the dress, and it is unreasonable to object now unless there was some significant issue she was not aware of before. Opie says that, and it was the bridesmaids who worked together to pick out the dresses. I put down 2 rules, which was 1, a selection of colors, and 2, floor length, as one of the other bridesmaids has a scar down her leg she wants covered / winter is very, very cold here. Formal fist bump says not the arsehole. If she agreed to the dress initially, it's shitty of her to change her mind. Her broke college student argument doesn't hold water given it had been cheaper for her to not go and buy a second dress. OP replies saying, the dress she bought was $10, so she'd be paying me significantly more than that in order to pay me back, was her argument. The commenter replies saying, hold on, you said you were paying for the dresses, so why would she need to pay you back? In your original post it sounds like you were covering the cost of the dresses. OP says, sorry for the confusion, that is the case, yes, but by the end of the phone call with her, in the argument, I initially tried to compromise by having her buy a new dress in at least the right color. And when she said that wasn't an option, I told her she'd either have to pay me back for the dress I bought her or actually wear the proper dress. Things went steeply downhill from there. So OP does update the post and says, hello everyone. To say I was blown away by your comments, awards and support is an understatement. I was pretty stressed out lately and didn't realize that the post had way more attention than I ever could have expected. I couldn't comment on everything, but I figured I should update you all. So I confronted my maid of honor, and you guys were right. There was more to the story. She sold the dress because she messed up on a student loan application and desperately needed cash. I'm not sure how true this is, especially considering I've seen her posting on social media about a fourth pet she's recently bought. She was very apologetic on the phone, but my trust in her is damaged. I told her as much and asked why she didn't ask for help. I'm a little strapped due to the wedding prep, but I could cut corners and would be way more understanding if she had just been upfront, not lied and gaslit. Our other friends would have helped where they could as well, as they've helped me in the past when I needed it. Additionally, I told my fiance what happened as the maid of honor was a mutual friend, and he outright said that he doesn't want her at the wedding if she was going to be disrespectful, so I relayed this to the maid of honor. The maid of honor didn't take this well, at first accusing me of blabbing and then of turning our friends against her. I then told her frankly that due to COVID my guest list was going to have to be really small, just a handful of people I love and trust, and that she is no longer one of them. She started to apologize again, and I sincerely wished her a nice life and that she'd treat her future friends better, then hung up and blocked her. I don't need whatever that was in my wedding or my life. I'm sorry this didn't end up on a super positive note, but it is what it is. I feel really just bad right now, but I'm hoping with time the wound will heal. For now, this sucks, and I miss my best friend. Anyways, thanks for listening to me ramble. I'm touched that so many of you all cared about my situation to reach out. Take care out there, all of you, and treat each other with kindness. You never do know what someone else is going through. And it's one of those stories that I wonder if OP was to look back on the past of their relationship, their friendship, what it was actually like. Was there other signs going on in the background? Because for me, that kind of behavior just doesn't appear out of nowhere. And bloody sold the bridesmaid's dress. Really? Or did she do something else with it? Was that just some sort of excuse or something? I don't know. What do you guys make of this situation? I don't think it was like a negative ending to this story. OP seems to have support around her at the same time and got rid of someone who was just taking the piss. What do you guys reckon? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from Poop on You 88 from the relationships subreddit and says, me, 28 male, with my 27 female fiance. Ex of mine, 27 female, called off her wedding because she regrets breaking up. I'll try to make this short. I love my fiance. I'd die without her. But this ex of mine, we go back. I was ready for a serious thing. She wasn't, so it ended. I found a beautiful girl. She found a sleazeball. Fast forward, ex's fiance is immature and ex leaves him and calls off her engagement. I was with my girl at a party that the ex went to. She hovered all night and seemed like she wanted to talk, but that didn't happen. Soon after, I found out ex was talking to my family, crying, saying she regrets letting me go. She should be his daughter-in-law, wishing she could rewind the clock and saying that she still loved me. I call the ex and we chat. Talk about how the timing was bad for both of us and maybe if things were different we'd be together. Telling her I knew what she said, but I was happy with my fiance and how happy I am with her. Thing is, ex was the first love. Since I was 16 I had loved her. Advice? I love my girl, but that what if is giving me doubts. Commenter says, I feel so terrible for your fiance. There are reasons why your past relationship didn't work out and reasons why you're with your current partner. Meditate on that. If your ex simply becoming available is enough to make you consider leaving your fiance, then you shouldn't be dating her, let alone getting married. Commenter replies saying, right, if you're that ready to leave your fiance even though you'll die without her, then maybe she's not really the one for you. Commenter says, dude, quoting I love my fiance, I'd die without her, and then says, there you go. My advice, Don't call your ex. She's your ex, not your fiancé. Sure, things might have worked if she was ready. Sure, you'd be a millionaire if you could predict the winning lottery numbers. You'd move on. You'd create something new for yourself. Don't fuck it up by looking backwards. She made a mistake and now she will live with it. Stop talking to her and have her stop talking to you and your family. Commenter says, if your ex hadn't taken up with a jerk, she wouldn't have dumped him and come whining back to you. Don't ruin your life over her bad decisions. Soapy came back into the post to update and says, on mobile, so sorry for crappy formatting. Thank you for the tough love advice. I did come off as an arsehole who didn't deserve shit, idiotic and narcissistic. I was emotional in my first post, angry at the ex because it turned out he hit her and she stayed. I was worried and mad. The ex has been calling, leaving messages, texting, hinting about wanting to reignite something. Hell no. The boat sailed when she pushed me to leave her at a family reunion in Chicago. She wants to be friends, but I said it's impossible and especially disrespectful to my fiancé. I've decided to let the past be. I've blocked the ex from my phone and all social media. Ex will have a place in my heart. So many firsts. After all, she was a huge part in me finding my fiancé. I'll think of her from time to time and hope she is well. My fiancé is everything I ever wanted. Everything about her is just so perfect. Edit. I told fiancé and showed her all the texts. She was pissed at me for calling her, for replying to texts. We had a long talk. She forgave me for disrespecting her. I keep her updated on everything. TLDR, left the past in the past. Stuff ends. Feel bad for ex, but I ain't a rebound dick for her. Life doesn't have time for what ifs. Commenter says, congratulations for making the right decision. Give your fiancé a big hug tonight and good luck in the marriage. Opie says, unfortunately, I work out of town weekdays, but on Friday night when I get home, I will bear hug her until she says enough. Berrywing says, if I was your fiancé, I too would be pissed at you for indulging your ex. I'd also be perfectly willing to forgive and move on. You've done everything right here. You told the ex to kick rocks and blocked her, and you showed your partner everything you've been up to and are keeping her updated. You're off to a great start and making wise choices that have nothing but positive impacts on your marriage. Cheers. Opie says thank you. It hasn't been a great week for her, but if I'm honest, I don't deserve her. JB Fletcher says, always happy when I see a good update here. Communication is so key, and it looks like you guys are going to be off to a great start. Great choice, OP. Opie says, thanks for your comment and opinions. I'll do everything I can to have a happy, honest life and keep my fiancé and wife near me until one of us sleeps forever. Another one says, what I'd like to know is whether or not you showed her your Reddit post. You know, the one where you were seriously contemplating going back to your ex. If you didn't, you deceived your fiancé, and all future interactions with her will be based on that deception. Commenter, who was downvoted, says, good old thought crime. I thought about assassinating Cheney once before I realized he had no soul and would revive with the blood moon. Should I call the Secret Service and turn myself in? Opie replied saying Cheney is already dead. Dude had no heartbeat. What is dead may never die. And Opie says again, I did show her. She knew everything I said. She knows the history. She wasn't happy at all. Mad for putting myself in that situation. Responding to her for all that. She trusts but verifies. I don't want to hide anything. I don't feel worthy of her. You're right, a relation built on deception is unfair, but being honest and open is what I want, no matter the cost. But now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What would you do if you was in that situation? What if you was the fiancé? How would you feel about it? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. Truly, it's absolutely amazing. And hopefully I'm going to see you in the next one. Take care and much love.